as I said earlier, if you're shipping only full containers, you're essentially putting 6 months worth of inventory or your entire fall collection or your entire year's worth of inventory in one container and hoping to the love of God nothing goes wrong. There's no blank sailing, there is no, a hole, there is no hole in your container. This happens. This is realities of shipping. This is the physical world. Now, if you can spread that risk across several shipments, now you anyway have to distribute inventory all around the country. You got to position inventory, not just in LA and New York. You got to be in Chicago. You got to be in Nashville. You got to be where FedEx is or where UPS is or where your distribution centers are. And you got to do something about it. So guess what? You can distribute your inventory in much smaller quantities and not pay a premium in shipping cost and essentially save yourself a significant amount of time while you're reducing the risk in your supply chain. In terms of, when I see this is basically when you place a purchase order with your factory for, let's say, 10,000 units. Between the time they actually start producing and the time they essentially finish producing at 10,000 units, 10 days, 20 days, 2 months, whatever, right? Your supplier right now has to float the cash flow to essentially produce that amount of goods. Now, my grandfather used to say there's no such thing as free in this world except for bad advice and a sound beating. Now, if your suppliers are giving you this, they have to account for this cash flow cost. They're rolling it up into your cost. Now, if you can go to your customers and say, or your factories and say, hey, I'm going to ship out as production goods come out of the production line. Every second day, I'm going to ship a small batch. It's going to go to LA, it's going to go to New York, it's going to Chicago, it's going to everywhere else. Now, the factory can definitely give you a reduced amount of rate. You can definitely negotiate that. This is not free. Cash costs money. There's interest charges we pay on those. Now, in terms of bringing goods into, as I mentioned earlier, you bring goods into LA or New York, and then you redistribute goods into the rest of the country. You essentially take it all across. Now, if you can start positioning inventory directly from origin, plan it to go direct to your DCs, right? And you're shipping in smaller quantities, you're not incurring that additional premium that you would ideally do. Now, isn't that a better option? You're cutting down the amount of time you're spending in shipping your goods. You're able to get things faster and you're able to not pay the premium. And lastly, we want to do our share of doing good for the environment, right? We believe, much like how if 4 people are riding the car, please take the carpool lane. We want to say, if you are utilizing your containers well, we want to do our share to encourage that behavior. We want to support it wholeheartedly. And for that, ever since the beginning of the year, we have been launching and paying for carbon offsets on all our consolidated products. So all our LCL and Flexport boxes, all the ocean match shipments, you ship with us, Flexport covers the cost of carbon offsets. So essentially, when you buy into a cost-saving model that de-risks your supply chain, you also get a completely green supply chain at no additional cost to you that's covered by Flexport because we care about this.